welcome back to my channel. My name is Lauren J. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I am going to use a new palette. I got this a couple of weeks ago, and it is the XNO Cosmetics times Beautiful Tragedy MUE Valkyrie palette. And if you just look at the cover of this palette, you'll see probably why I was really drawn to it. Like, that illustration is so on point, and I just really want to know who did the artwork for that. I wish they had attributed it, but it's really, really cool. And the inside is even cooler. So it does have a mirror, and inside is the 9-pan palette. Look at this color story. This is so cool. This is a mixture of mattes and shimmers. You have one duochrome. You have two true shimmers, which are Bifrost and Mjolnir. And then you have 6 mattes. So all the rest of them, you have a matte black, you have a matte deep red, you have a matte deep piney green, you have a pastel mint, and you have a light blue, powder blue called Shield Maiden. This palette was, I think, originally $30, but it was on sale on their site, I believe, for $23.99. And then I used Leora's code, Leora Hallel Goldberg, who did a video on this palette. She now has a code with XNO Cosmetics. I don't believe she did at the time she did the review, but I used her code for another 10% off. So I think I ended up paying around $21 plus $7 for shipping. I thought the shipping was a little bit high, but she did put it in a box with a lot of packing material, so it wasn't just in like a bubble mailer. So once I got it, I kind of understood why it was $7. I believe this comes from Texas. I think her Instagram, the XNO Cosmetics Instagram, says they're based out of Missouri, but from the shipping notice I got, this was shipped from Texas, so I don't know if she's moved or what's happening there. But I paid through PayPal, and it was a pretty easy transaction. It got out to me pretty quickly, despite all the stuff that's going on with the weather and the world in general. I got it actually pretty quickly, and I've been playing with it for about 2 weeks, and this is the look that I did today. It's pretty much the look that I've been doing the whole time with this palette, and I'll explain a little bit about that when I go into the look that I did with it. But let me give you a few swatches of this palette. So we're going to start at the top, and this is Bifrost. Beautiful shimmer powdery blue. This is Fenrir, the matte gray. You can see that, and these mattes do need to be built up a bit. But it's a beautiful, cool toned gray, almost a little bit of purple in it. Then we have the black shade, which is Raven. And you can see that's a nice deep black that you can definitely deepen up any look with. That is the top row. I'm gonna go to the next row, and we have Yggdrasil, which is the tree of life in the Nordic myth, I believe. And again, I'll just deepen that up a bit. This formula is drier. I mean, it's not like dry, but it is drier, so it's not like a creamy matte formula. So it is a bit easier to blend out, I find, and you can build it up. And then we will go with Valhalla, the beautiful mint color in the middle. And This color also needs to be built up. I'll talk a bit about that in the look that I do. I'll talk about you can get this to really pop if you do build it up and if you're really patient with it. That is Valhalla. Then we'll go into Shield Maiden, which is the beautiful powdery blue matte. This shade is everything I want in a blue shade. It is so pretty. I love a powder blue shade like this. It's just my jam entirely. That is the middle row. Next we'll go with Mjolnir. This is the silver shade. And it's not incredibly vibrant silver. It is more of a soft, sort of off-white silver, but it does go with the look very much. And I do show you a little bit of a comparison to another silver that I have that I prefer, but it is very appropriate to the palette. Then we have the red shade Viking, which is this pretty lipstick blood red, which I'm using as a blush today. And then we have the namesake shade of the palette, which is Valkyrie, and this is a beautiful blue duochrome. It looks white in the pan, but it shows up blue. It is what is on the inner corner of my eye today, and I hope you can see that shift right there. It is really beautiful with both Bifrost and with Shield Maiden. It also works beautifully with Valhalla underneath, and also with a bit of Fenrir. So these are the shades, all the swatches of the shades. And so sometime in February, when we're in the middle of our 2-week deep cold spell, I just felt inspired to, you know, go for it and pick this up. So I did. I picked it up on their website. I'll leave a link down below. I'm not affiliated. I don't have a code. So the link is just for your information only. I have posted a couple looks of this on my Instagram, and I did get a few comments from Kalina, who is Beautiful Tragedy MUE, thanking me for buying the palette and telling me my look was beautiful. So just so you know, I have briefly interacted with her, but I don't know her, but she seems very, very sweet. And I think she did a wonderful job on creating this color story. So congratulations, Kalina. I don't know you, but you did a wonderful job with this. Stick around if you want to see how I got this beautiful blue look, and I'll see you in just a second. So the thing about this palette that I enjoy is that you have the ability to go really intense and dark with it, but you also have the ability to go really colorful and pretty, because I love my blues, and the blues in here are just absolutely gorgeous. I love putting them together, and so I think that's what I'm going to do with this palette. You do have this black shade called Raven, where you can really deepen a look up, but that's just not the life that I'm living, and I just tend to go for blues. So I'm going to use the blues in here and show you the look that I prefer to do with it. But honestly, you could do a variety of looks, and that's what makes this palette super unique. It's not a color story I have seen anywhere else, and it is pretty versatile. So I've been very happy with the palette so far, and I will give you some thoughts about what I feel about the individual shades as I go along. I have used the Anastasia eye primer because I find that my eyelids have been very oily lately, so if I don't use this, this is a very dry primer, as opposed to the e.l.f. eye primer, which can be a very emollient primer. I'm all about a frosty look right now. We're supposed to get a snowstorm tomorrow, so I was feeling very in the depths of winter when I bought this palette. We're gonna start with a bit of Shield Maiden in the crease, and I'm going to use a Zoeva 228 Luxe Crease brush. I love these because they're nice and big, and you can get the crease shade up in my case where I have the hooded eyes, I like to get them up a little bit above the crease. So as you can see how pigmented it really is right there. And with this particular eye base, which is very white, you will really see the shades pop. And these shades do start out a little bit light, but you can build them up. And I love a really pretty powder blue shade like this. I just think it's super pretty. Blue, obviously my favorite color. I'm probably just gonna go on about that for a long time, about how much I love blue. And it's pretty true to color on my skin tone. I'm gonna go in with a bit of Yggdrasil. That is the tree of life in Norse mythology. I am using a Zoeva 230 Luxe pencil, just to get a pretty nice little line. This is a nice deep green. You can go really intense with it, but it also just helps you deepen up the outer corner, and you can go really sort of, see how it's just sort of this pretty evergreen color. It just defines the outer corner. And then I'll just take a little bit along my upper lash line, about to like the middle. Just gives it a little bit more volume on the outside. Now this side is always the tricky part, because left-handed. I really wouldn't think that this color would go with the rest of the palette, but it really just is a nice accent, deep, like I said, like a piney color. It just goes with the whole theme, and it just works. I don't know why, it just works. A little bit grungy, but it's also very wintry. So I'm going to take Bifrost with a Zoeva 233 Luxe Petite crease, and I'm going to put that on my brush, and then, as you can see, this is what it looks like, and then I'm going to take a little bit of water and spray it, and you can really see the beautiful shimmer. Bifrost and Shield Maiden are great companions, matte and shimmer blues. Like, it's just like my favorite tone of blue. Frosty but colorful. As you can see, it goes on really pretty with some water. And I'll just dry that off before I dip back in, because I don't want my shades to get hard pan. So I'm just going in again and going in with some more water on the other side. And this way you're also not getting fallout, which I can get a bit of fallout with this shade if I'm just going in without any kind of fixture on it. It also looks beautiful applied with the finger, which I also tend to do. So actually, I'll probably just do that right now. I'm just gonna take a bit on and apply it over. And as you can see, I think that really makes it pop. And next we're gonna take a bit of the gray shade, which is the gray matte called Fenrir. And we're just gonna take a nice e.l.f. Shadow brush. And I'm just gonna do a bit of that on the inside part of the lid just to lay down a bit of a gray base. And as you can see, this tone of gray looks really nice with this tone of blue. And then I'm going to take a bit of Mjolnir. Why can't I say that word? Mjolnir. Thor's hammer. Mjolnir. So this is a silver. It's not quite as intense as I would want it to be. It leans more on the whiter side than the silver side, but it is a very pretty shimmer. So I'm just going to put a bit of that over the top of Fenrir, because I find that having a bit of that base of Fenrir helps the shimmer on Mjolnir to stand out. I would say if you're really looking for a silver kick, I have compare it to like Luxuriance from the Nabla Cutie palette, the Platinum palette. Like, this is the type of silver I prefer, but this is like a very frosty silver, and I understand why this would not necessarily work with that palette, but this one would. So next I'm going to take a bit of Valhalla, which is that center shade right here. This is a matte. It's a matte minty green, and this one is beautiful, but it does require a lot of building up. So just be patient with it, and I'm just using it to soften up the edges here. It is a beautiful color on its own, but you do need a very light base to use with it. And then I just cleaned off the brush I used to lay down Fenrir, and I'm going to go under the eye with Valhalla. So you can see how that goes on, very, very subtle. But you can build it up. And I will probably go over that again once I've done my base and my concealer, just to deepen that up a bit. But you can see it right there, and you can see it right there. It is a really beautiful green, almost like this mint green, but a little bit bluer. And like I said, it does require building up. You're not going to get that punch of bright green like you see in the pan, but it does help to blend out the looks and just add a little pop of vibrancy. It is a shade that requires a little bit of care to get to really show up. So I'm going to go do my lashes, my base, and I will be back. Okay, so I have gone in and done my base. What I have used is the mixture of the e.l.f. Camo CC Cream in 210, light 210N, and I've mixed that with the Pacifica A Light Clean Foundation in 38NF. I have used the Boing Cakeless Concealer from Benefit. I love the little pencil eraser on the top. And I put a little bit of lip oil and powdered over the top. I also went back in and did a little bit with a pencil brush, a little bit more of Valhalla under the eye. I also used the e.l.f. Lash It Loud mascara. So what I'm going to do to cap off the eye look is go in with a bit of Valkyrie, so you can see the duochrominess of that. So I'm just gonna give you a little finger swatch there. And this is the color that I have lining my waterline. This is the ColourPop Cream Gel Liner in Icebreaker. It's a nice minty green color to go with the frosty look. The other one that also goes really well with it is the LA Girl liner in Powdered Blue, and the ColourPop liner in Big Splash also goes very well with this type of minty blue frosty look. I am going to take a bit of Mjolnir on my pinky, and just go in on the inner corner so you can see how blue it is. If you could see how blue that is, it looks white in the pan, but it goes absolutely blue and beautiful on the inner corner. You can see that. This is the brush I use for Bifrost. I'm just going to take a bit of that on the tip of this and bring it in under the eye a little bit. I think you can see how that just makes a really beautiful frosty inner corner. I did use a bit of Raven on my outer lash line, upper lash line, just out here, because I wanted to give my lashes a little bit more volume. So I did use a little bit of the black. And so I've used all of the colors except for the red one, which is called Viking. So I am going to use that on my cheeks because I don't tend to use a lot of red eyeshadow on my eyes, but I do love an all-in-one palette. So I think if you really wanted to, you could use this Valkyrie as a highlighter. And I like to use this very, very lightly as a bit of blush, just real light, like just tap it on. And I find it's just easier to use a shade in the palette for blush than trying to dig through all of my blushes trying to see if I have the right tone. I like mine up a bit higher, not right here. I like it back here. So however you choose to do your blush. So as you can see, I've really blended that out, really gone in and blotted it out. And so I do like the tone though. It's got that blue in it. So this is again, the color Viking. It's a really deep blood red in the pan, but you can get it to go very light for blush. Very almost pinky purpley, very pretty. For highlight, I am going to use the Becca Berlin Girl Glow. This is my favorite Becca highlight. It's got a nice blue pink tone that I think goes really well with this color story. I also think that if you wanted to go for that punch, you could use Valkyrie as a highlight if you just really wanted to go for it. I have used a bit of Valkyrie on my cheeks and I do think it looks very pretty. It does look very pretty on the end of the nose too. But I'm just going for something a little bit more subtle today, so. And then for my lips, I'm gonna go a little bit dark. I did put a lip oil on, so I'm gonna put a matte over that, so it's not gonna look quite matte. It's gonna look a little bit more translucent. But this is the Sephora Lip Stories in Labyrinth City. And I think either glossy or matte would look really nice with this color. Like this can go a little bit darker when it's matte, but I do prefer right now a little bit of a non-drying formula. I'm not putting on a mask after this. I'm not going anywhere. So if you are wearing a mask, maybe don't wear a lip at all, or maybe just do the matte and blot heavily. I'm going to use a little bit of the e.l.f. makeup set mist and set on my face just to set it. So this is the finished look with the XNO Cosmetics Times Beautiful Tragedy MUE Valkyrie palette. It is a beautiful little 9-pan palette. I love the frosty minty blue look. It is just my vibe right now. It is what I really adore. And I really do enjoy this palette. Like I said, it does require a bit of building up of the mattes, but the payoff, once you do that, if you're patient with the shades, the color payoff is pretty great. and it's a very unique color story. It's just been a really fun palette to play with, a very beautiful winter palette. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this. Please let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much. Bye.